receptive to the information. He appeared to understand everything I gave him. He did have some, it appeared that he was upset about something that happened prior to probation. He kept trying to talk to me about something with Medicare and some rights being taken away. So he just appeared to be really angry about something that's happened prior to probation. So I had to rear him a lot to just focus on what's at hand, and I couldn't control what happened before. So he just appeared to have a lot of anger in him. It wasn't directly to me. I never felt, it was ever directed towards me. I just think it's just something in his past that was bothering him. But we only got to meet two times, 3 times, April, or 2 times, excuse me. Only got to meet. So we really haven't built a rapport. But in the couple of times I met him, he was always respectful. He was never disrespectful. He's just appears to have, trouble following the directives that was given to him.
Would he ever, how would you describe his punctuality?
He was always late, at least an hour or two late to his appointments. So he wasn't punctual for his appointments.
And for these violations that we've gone over today, would those have occurred here in Bexar County, Texas?
Yes, his violations, yes, ma'am, in Bexar County.
At this time, Your Honor, I will pass witness.
All right, defense.
So, Ms. Parker, first question is how do you know whether or not he called into the UA line?
There's a report that is ran on Century. You can run a report and you can put the dates. And so from the date that we put him in and from current date, if we would like, it'll say call missed. And if it says yes, that means that he did not call in. So the only ones that are going to say no is the ones that are on the weekend because he's not required to. So the report that's provided on Century lets you know. And if he does call in, it will tell you exactly the time that he called in. It'll give you a time as well.
Does he have any instances where he did call in? That's my question.
He did not. He did not call in at all. If I can say that on one of my violation reports, I put that he did call in, but I was mistaken because that was a weekend and I read the report wrong. So as far as ever calling in, he did not. And even when in our office visit in April, I asked him why he hadn't called in, and he just said he had a lot going on.
So you said that you asked him to report on the same day that he had his TAP evaluation, correct?
Yes, sir. I believe on that same day, he had a original appointment. And I might be, if I can look at my notes real quick, I believe he had an appointment on that day, just his regular report date. I believe it was that same day, but I can double check that real quick if you would like. Is that fine? Yeah.
Sure.
Okay. Let me look real quick. No, it was on April the 11th. It wasn't the same day. His TAP appointment was April 9th, and then he was to come report to me on April the 11th.
Okay, so the violation that he missed his TAP on the 11th is actually incorrect.
It's not the TAP. He missed his TAP on April the 9th.
Okay, well, that's what I
He
mean.
did miss his TAP on April the 9th. He didn't show to that appointment at 8 a.m. His TAP.
So he did not have a TAP on the 11th.
No, ma'am. No, sir. Excuse me. He did not have a TAP on the 11th.
Okay, but he did show up to his reported meeting on the 11th.
He showed up 2 hours late. Yes, sir. And then I was actually leaving for the day, and he was instructed to come back April the 14th, in which he did.
Okay. So and he completed a BIP class, but not the one that he was supposed to take.
Yes,
right?
sir. Yes, sir. He completed an online course.
Has he also completed a parenting class?
He did complete the parenting class after the first time he completed it. It was an incorrect class. And then when I told him that that wasn't what was approved, he did go back and do the correct class. Yes, sir.
Okay. So we have a probationer that seems to be able to comply with certain conditions, but is missing on some others.
Yes, sir.
Did you notice that maybe there was a possibility that there was some things that he was processing and understanding and other things that he wasn't?
No, sir. He understood everything the first visit. He was provided with all the handouts, which specifically told him exactly where he needed to go and call to take the classes. We also communicated via email, so he had it in his email as well. So I don't think there was any confusion on if he can complete this or not.
And where is he supposed to go to submit to the drug test?
He has two options. He could submit here at my office in Crestway, or he can go downtown to their main location. So he had two locations he can submit.
And it's your belief that he had that information?
Yes, sir. He had that information. That he's given a handout that has the addresses and the times.
And then on calling in, do you have records of him actually making some calls, just not all at once?
No calls at all.
Okay.
No calls. The record shows no calls at all.
Now, did you inform him that he had a motion to revoke that was filed against him?
I do inform them. That is our protocol. Yes, sir.
Are you aware that he tried to surrender himself to take care of that warrant in the courthouse?
I was not aware.
He hasn't been in contact with you since then?
He has not been in contact with me. No. When he was informed of it, he sent an email. He didn't acknowledge the email that he had a warrant. He just responded with he made a payment and he sent his class again. And then he had some other things in the email, but he never I hadn't had a face-to-face visit with him since I told him.
So, Ms. Parker, what is the impression or feeling that you have about Mr. Cummings as a probationer when you see him actively trying to submit information to you, actually complying with a condition or two, but then totally missing certain others, but then submitting himself to the court when he knows he's got a motion to revoke? There just seems to be a contradiction there. What do you think about that?
I believe that Mr. Cummings, it's some thinking errors there. I do believe, I don't know, I can't really answer why he's not following the directives given to him. But I believe he has the potential to follow him. I just don't understand why he didn't. So I don't really know how to answer that question, but it seems as though he did make an effort. But why he chose to go a different route, I don't know. He just told me what he did, what was convenient for him. He did question a lot of things as far as like, why do I have to do this? Why do I have to do that? Which we answered that, but I do believe he has the potential to follow. It's just he just chose not to. But I do commend him for, turning himself in and taking care of what he needed to do. I do commend him for that. And to say that he didn't report, he never just not reported. It was just always a late route. So
All right.
I do believe he made the effort, but
No further questions from the state, Your Honor.
All right, I have one question, if there's no
ma'am.
objection.
yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
Judge, I asked the one I forgot. And then,
All right, yes.
uh,
Maybe your question is my question.
can you let the court know, Ms. Parker, if he's made any payments towards his probation?
I can check for you right now, sir. He made one payment on April the 11th for $500.
All right, that's not the question I have. Any objections to my asking
No,
the
no,
question?
no, Judge.
Not from the state, Your
All
Honor.
right, so I have a question about his conditions of probation.
Yes,
I'm
Judge.
usually very technical. So I understand, I see that the state is saying that he attempted to purchase a handgun as one of his violations of probation. So the question I have is, part of his conditions is that he's not to attempt to purchase a handgun? Does anyone know?
I think it's he can't possess one is what I've always thought the condition was.
1 second, Judge. I am going to pull that up right now. Okay, condition 12 just says you shall not purchase, receive, possess, or transport any weapon, including but not limited to a club, explosive weapon, firearm, ammunition, illegal knife, martial arts weapon, brass knuckles, or chemical dispensing device during your term of community supervision.
So there's nothing there that says you're not allowed to attempt.
You shall not purchase.
All right,
That's the wording. You shall not purchase.
okay. All right, is there any other questions?
Not from the state, Your Honor.
Any other question?
No, Your Honor.
All right, is this witness excused?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes.
All right, you can be excused. Officer Parker, you can stay on to see what the court
Okay.
decision is going to be.
Yes, ma'am.
Any other witnesses?
Your Honor.
Defense, any witnesses?
Just Mr. Cummings.
All right, Mr. Cummins, if you can raise your right hand for me, please. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes,
All right, you can lower your hand, state your name for the record.
Marlon Durrell Cummings.
All right, you may proceed.
So, Mr. Cummings, you are aware of and you understand the fact that you cannot possess weapons on probation, is that right?
Yes,
Did you in fact surrender some weapons when you got placed on probation?
yes.
And how many weapons did you have that you got rid of?
Well, for,
And how did you dispose of them?
just took it to the marshal.
So you sold.
All of them. Yes, sir.
So you heard the gentleman from Academy testify. What was it you were trying to accomplish by that process at the Academy?
I had showed him my very county, jail card, just so that he could understand exactly that I just got out, and at the same time, that I was trying to, figure out exactly what's going on with my background. I've been in trouble over 15 years, and, even beforehand, I had spoke to him, I told him that I had just left from the, police station where I was trying to, get that information, and that they had sent me to, Nacalitos to see, about, my property, because I never knew what exactly was on in my property. At that point, they did a background check, and at that point, I got online at the DPS and through my driver license and my CHL to try to figure out exactly what's going on. At that point, then I went to okay.
And you said CHO, you in the past have had a concealed handgun license, is that right?
Yes,
And but obviously couldn't use it during your term of probation.
exactly.
So in filling out all that paperwork, were you attempting to discern you were still disqualified? What was why was it that you did not understand what your status was?
I just wanted to just go through the process of just really just trying to understand exactly what was the holdup at the police station for my property, because they were saying that was gonna take like 6 months to a year or something like that. So that's why, I was just trying to really get like up to date, because I felt like, I had property there that, I would like to see exactly what's there. They wasn't giving me that information.
Now, did you understand about the UA line having to call in and then if they say it's your day, you have to go get tested?
Yes, I was told that since I wasn't arrested for drugs, that I could just call. And at that point, if they felt that it was needed for me to take a drug test, I would take a drug test.
Okay. But you understand, Ms. Parker says you're not even calling in.
Yes,
Is it that you just slipped your mind or you didn't really understand the instructions?
I was just new to like I was just new to probation and just having a whole lot going on, so I tried to place a roof over my head and stuff like that.
And I suggested to the court that in terms of saying you actually hired me to come and try to get you your bond set and all that business. Is that right?
Yes,
And then on the day that I asked you to come so we can meet the judge and talk about that, they actually, you got ahead of me and went to the satellite booking office and that's when they took you into custody.
yes,
Okay, so that was
yes,
an idea of you walked in the wrong room at the wrong time. But you were in the courthouse for the purpose of dealing with the warrant, correct?
yes.
Okay, so are you asking the court today to reinstate you and give you a restart on your probation so you can comply?
I'm just looking for just for some help. Me being on probation and me being a homeowner and going through the situation and having a warrant for my arrest, haven't been able to be at home. I'm just trying to keep my home because of a foreclosure like that I have from going through a theft situation. Police reports have been provided already for that, but so by me, I'm just looking for help at this point.
That's what it's judge.
State?
Rick Payne for the record, Your Honor. Mr. Cummings,
Yes,
do you recall entering your plea to this case back in February of this year?
yes,
Do you recall the judge going over all the terms of your probation with you?
yes,
Did you understand the affirmative finding that was entered to you?
yes,
Did you understood that affirmative finding meant that you could not attempt to purchase a gun, weapons, anything like that?
yes.
Okay. Do you recall meeting with Ms. Parker, your CSO?
Yes,
At that point, did she go over all the connections with you as well?
yes,
You asked her any questions?
yes.
And what were those questions related to?
She gave me all the, she gave me good answers and I understood. Her.
So you understood all the terms of your probation?
Yes,
Okay.
yes,
Now you mentioned that you were wanting to determine the status of the background check, is that correct?
yes.
Do you feel like there was any other place you could go to try and get that done other than Academy?
I went to the police station and I went to the, to work, the other, police station I have over there for, not to. And I did it online. I did it online too, before going to academy.
So you did those three things before going to Academy.
Yes,
So what was the need to go to Academy if you already gone through 2 law enforcement agencies and online?
they wasn't able to give me that information.
Okay, and you felt like Academy would give you the information you needed?
Yes,
Do you feel that it was a good idea to try and purchase a gun while you're on probation?
I wasn't trying to purchase.
Did you, well, if you weren't trying to purchase it, did you handle that gun while you were there?
If you were to see the video, I told them like, like I'm fine. I didn't really recall it, and really touch it. So if I did touch it, I'm for sure video you would see me go, okay, like, cause I didn't really need to touch it.
Okay, so you never held the gun in your hand at all?
I really don't recall. I don't recall just.
Well, let me ask you this, what you don't recall, do you recall going the first day that the Mr. Cooney testified to?
Well, the thing about that, I was trying to remember, so, I filled the form out 2 times. I thought you said it was 1 time. I thought you said the first time I just showed them my Fair County license, and I didn't have my ID and stuff like that, which I did. Y'all gave it to me when I got.
Well, let me ask you this, you do recall going there on 2 separate occasions, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. No further questions, I'll pass it.
Any other questions? Any other questions?
I think that was it, Judge.
All right. The court will hear argument, and before I hear argument, this is what clarification needs to be given to the court. I think it's clear that violations of conditions 2, 21, and 22 are true. Now, I'm taking in consideration, of course, the fact that with regards to the BIP, he took a different BIP, he turned that in. So I'm weighing that, but it is true that he didn't take the BIP course that was required of him. What I'm saying is not true is number 23, the failure to attend the TAP evaluation, because the witness testified that the date for that is not the correct date. Number 26, that was waived by the state defense. I forgot to ask you, with regard to that, do you have any objections to the state's waiver of number 26?
I do not, Judge.
All right, so this is what the court's issue is, the one that's the quandary. The attempt to purchase of a weapon. Based upon the evidence that I've heard, he attempted to purchase a weapon. We can say he was in there to see, oh, let me see if I would qualify to get a weapon. But I think regardless of whether he was going in, whatever his purpose was, it was still an attempt at purchase. So the question becomes whether or not attempting to purchase a weapon is a violation of his probation. And to determine that, there needs to be an express condition that says he's not allowed to attempt to purchase a weapon. Now, if it were to be a new number 1, attempt to purchase a weapon or something of that nature, then it would be an easy decision for the court. But it's not listed as a new number 1. It's just listed that he attempted to purchase a weapon. So if you all can hone in, and maybe the witness has some more information on whether or not it expressly states in his conditions of probation that he is not allowed to attempt to purchase a weapon. That's what I need to know. I believe the witness testified that that's not a part of his conditions of probation. What she read to the court is he's not to possess a weapon. She named certain weapons he can't possess, the brass knuckles, the firearm. But I didn't hear anything about an attempt to purchase.
And Your Honor,
And I'll hear that.
I'll speak to that.
Yes.
So the condition specifically states the defendant is not allowed to purchase a handgun. To complete that purchase, he would have to pass the background check, which he can't do because he's on probation. And so I believe that is why it's listed as attempt to purchase. He would never legally be allowed to purchase the weapon, but they do
I mean, at some-
prevent him from doing that.
Some places they do let people purchase a weapon even though they're not supposed to. And I understand what the state is saying, but conditions of probation I think need to reflect that, because everybody's going on what the terms that are in the conditions of probation. Does he know that he's not supposed to attempt to purchase a weapon? Yes, but we're dealing with what the conditions are in his conditions of probation, because that's a contract.
And Your Honor, if you would like, I can ask witness some follow-up questions to see if she
Sure.
has anything.
I mean, because I think that's one major point for all of this. And I think that's why everybody has red flags, because there's an attempt here to purchase a weapon. But yes, if you would like any objections to reopening for more information from the officer.
No, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Parker, you're still under oath?
Yes.
Ms. Parker, were you hearing the judge's concerns just now?
I do hear her concerns, yes. It does read, you shall not purchase, receive, possess, or transport. The condition does not say you should not attempt. That's correct. But I also agree that because he didn't purchase, because the background check didn't go through, that's probably why, I assume that's why it wasn't purchased. But the conditions does not say he cannot attempt.
And that would be just the state's argument to that condition, Your Honor.
Judge, there's always a possibility that they said, yes, you can buy it. He said, I don't really want it. Now I know that I can. Maybe I'll do it some other day. He could have just walked away from it.
Well, I think this is a situation where maybe the conditions of probation need to be reworked to put in there that you cannot attempt to purchase or possess these other things. Because,
And Your Honor, I will also speak to the violation of condition number 23. I know that Ms. Parker testified it was on April 9th, not April 11th. However, that is why we have the honor about language on there.
Yeah. Yes, I'm sorry about that. I misspoke. I said April 9th. His TAP appointment was Friday, April 11th. I misspoke on the date. I apologize. I misspoke on that date. His TAP was Friday, April 11th at 8 a.m. and he did not show on that date.
all right,
I did
there's a
misspeak.
correction for the court then.
Yes,
Uh, Violation, this is what the court is finding true. The court is finding violation of condition number 2, which states that he didn't take his drug test. The court is finding that is true. Court is finding violation of condition number 21, that he did not enroll in the BIPP course as true. The court does understand that he took a different course that was not the intensive course that the BIPP is, and the court ordered the BIPP course. The court is finding violation of condition number 22, not calling the UA hotline. The court is finding that true. The court is finding violations condition number 23 true. That's the TAP evaluation. The court is finding violation of condition number 12, not true, the attempt to purchase a handgun. The court does find that he attempted to purchase a handgun, but the court is finding that that was not a violation of his conditions of probation, because that was not one of the conditions of probation. The court is finding number 26, the state waived, so the court is not ruling on that. Any questions about the court's findings?
No, Your Honor.
Just argument on punishment, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, and then so that the record can be clear, According to the judgment, the defendant is on deferred adjudication for assault causing bodily injury family as a Class A misdemeanor. Both parties had no objection to the state amending the defendant's motion to revoke to read that the defendant was placed on deferred adjudication for assault causing bodily injury family on February 4th, 2025 for 2 years. All right, the court will hear argument.
Yes. So given that this defendant has been on probation, he was put on probation on February 4th of 2025. Pretty immediately, as the court has found true on multiple violations, the defendant has not done what he was supposed to do on probation. He has instead done, as Ms. Parker stated, what's convenient for him. It was not convenient for him to do the TAP evaluation because he did not want to submit any UAs as he didn't on March 19th. And as he never called in to do the random UA hotline to see if he was required to submit to any drug testing. Additionally, he did not do the BIP and the BIP class. He did the BIP class that was most convenient for him, which is 20 hours. That's vastly different than the 4 to 5 month long in-person BIP course that is required by the court. Additionally, Your Honor, I do understand that the court did not find a violation of condition number 12 true. However, the court did find that the defendant did attempt to purchase a firearm, and that is concerning given the type of offense that this defendant is on probation for. That is a huge red flag to the state, Your Honor. I understand that the defendant is saying that he went in there to get a background check. If that's the case, he said he filled out the form twice in his testimony. So on that first visit, that could have been, his denial, but he went back a second time. And the only reason for going back a second time, Your Honor, and handling that weapon a second time and knowing exactly what kind of gun he wanted to purchase for the second time was so that he could buy that firearm. And that is a danger that is directly against the affirmative finding of family violence. And that presents himself to be a danger to this community and not only to the complainant as well. And so for that, Your Honor, given the red flags that this defendant has posed while he has been on probation for the 2 months that he was on probation before this motion to revoke probation came out, the state is asking that he be terminated and sentenced to 1 year in the Bexar County Jail.
Right, defense.
Judge, it's totally understandable why people will say there's red flags, but the real issue is what's behind all that. Is this a case where we really need to be concerned, or is it just on its face appear to be dangerous? Because we have conflicting evidence in this case. He's only been on probation 2 months, March and April. Well, 3, May, and he did the wrong BIP class, but he did a BIP class. He did the parenting class, which was the correct class. He did go to his orientation. He's just reporting as he's supposed to. When he found out he had the MTR, he responded to the probation and said, "This is what I've done." And then he got with me to try to resolve the MTR. So he's not doing it perfectly. I would disagree with that. When he went the first time, he never got an answer about whether he qualified or not. They just didn't run him. They didn't run him until the second time. Then he found out he couldn't, and he didn't. And that was the end of it. And good question by counsel. Why didn't you get that information somewhere else? Because they wouldn't give it to him. He went to actually 3 other places. And the place on Nogalitos what he's talking about is actually the property room, which they don't have that information, but it is the San Antonio Police Department office that deals with property. So he wasn't that far off. So he's a little bit off in how he's handling it, but he's trying to handle it. I think we now understand Mr. Cooney's testimony about maybe there seems to be a lack of a meeting of the minds. And what we attribute that to, I'm not sure. But he's now been in jail on a Class A misdemeanor over 60 days. He hasn't complained about it. He's been to court. He's trying to handle it. The recommendation from the probation was to put him on intensive supervision. If he wants to continue and not serve out the rest of his sentence, I would join in that recommendation. I've asked him. I think he wants to get back to his home and his personal belongings and things that he needs to be taken care of because he's about to lose them by being in jail too long.
All right, probation, what is your recommendation?
Judge, our recommendation is ISP, intensive supervision. We feel, reason being we didn't go with revocation, we just feel that he needs a more structured environment as far as field visits, curfew, so more intense supervision. So our recommendation was ISP.
All right, so this is what the court's thinking is. State, I do understand your concern. However, I think everyone knows the rules at the Bexar County Jail. If I were to sentence him to 365 days at the Bexar County Jail, which is the maximum, at the jail, you receive 2 for 1, 3 for 1. He will be soon released. Defense counsel says he already has 60 days. So depending on what is happening at the Bexar County Jail, either he's going to get credit for just 60 days, or either they're going to give him credit for 120 days or 180 days. There's overcrowding at the jail. I think in this case, one, probation will probably now tighten up their conditions of probation to include do not attempt to purchase weapons. Mr. Martinez, that's one of those cases where you maybe win an appeal, but then the defense bar is upset because now things have changed. I could do one or two things, and I'm going to leave the choice up to you. I can continue you, but I'm going to put you on GPS. That's how I'm going to tighten it up for you. He will be allowed to work, but that's it. And then if he proves to the court that he's able to abide by the conditions, then the next step the court will have is the court will then allow him to still be on GPS, but there'll be a curfew. And then the next step will be tracking. Then the next step will be removal. That's your choice. You can either do that, but you're going to be on GPS if I continue you, or either I will send you to the Bexar County Jail, and I'm taking into consideration the fact that you honestly, you were sort of doing your own thing. So I will sentence you to 360 days at the Bexar County Jail. So those are your two choices. You can either do 360 days at the Bexar County Jail, or either you can do GPS. And let me just tell you what I'm going to do. If you choose to continue on probation, I'm going to do GPS, and I'm going to do a 30-day jail sanction. And I'm going to give you credit for the time that you've been in custody. So if you're ever sentenced or revoked on this probation, you won't have 60 days. You only have 30 days. So which do you prefer? You want to speak to your attorney?
Judge, clarification for me, GPS for the duration?
Until further notice.
He's fine with the GPS.
All right. So this is what the court is going to do then. And is there any other conditions, state, that you would like?
To see. No attempting to purchase a firearm, Your Honor.
All right.
And then, of course, just all the other remaining conditions to be kept in place.
All right. This is the court. The court would deny the motion, alter the main conditions to no attempting to buy any weapon. So that means brass knuckles. That means everything that is on their list. Do you understand? No attempting to purchase or obtain any weapon. GPS, waive fees. He's at the Bexar County Jail, so it'll be easy for them to do it there. And there's going to be a GPS until further notice. And there'll be partial GPS for employment and for any conditions of probation. So if you have to report and you're on GPS, then you can go report. If you have to take your BIP class, then you can go take your BIP class. But here's the thing, when you're on GPS and it's for work or for you to go to probation, you cannot stop at Burger King, HEB, or any of these places, even if it's on the route, because it's going to show up as a violation. Do you understand?
Yes.
All right, so partial GPS for employment, and I'm just going to say fulfillment of probation conditions. And all other conditions are still in place. Probation, is there anything else that he needs?
Does he need to retake the BIP course?
Yes. You're gonna take the BPI course that the court requires you to take. You understand?
And Your Honor, does he need to do the TAP evaluation as well? Would that be done in investigator out of custody?
TAP evaluation is usually 2 weeks. We can do the TAP evaluation out of custody. If you miss that TAP evaluation, what's gonna end up happening is they're gonna file a motion to revoke. Do you understand? Probation, is there anything else? Is there
No,
anything-
Judge. No,
Thank
Judge,
you.
that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anything else you need from the court to be successful?
No, I just wanted to say, thank you for taking the time just to, my case.
You're welcome. Do you understand everything? So if you have a question, next time you have a question about something, ask your probation officer. And if they don't answer it, you could have came here to the 187th and said, Judge, I want to know if I can purchase a gun, or if I try to purchase a gun, what will happen? And I would have told you, a motion to revoke is going to be filed and nobody should be allowing you to purchase a weapon. That's why I'm here. All right? Okay, good luck to you. Thank you.
Thanks, Judge.
I think we're done. You are missing.
Yes.